Hi there, I'm Becky Hammond and welcome back to Isogo TV. I really want to help you wherever you are on your journey of strengths to take your greatest strengths and apply them to your everyday life and your everyday work. This episode is episode 6 called How I Saved My Marriage. And I can't say I say we, and with the help of a tool. And you probably get where I'm going, but I really want to share that with you because I believe that when we can understand our own strengths and the strengths of people around us, especially those closest to us, we can eliminate hate and strife at home and at work. And when hate and strife are eliminated, we can flourish. Our success can flourish. I've seen it and I'm living it at home, at work, in my marriage. So let me tell you a story about it. So one of the most significant ways that StrengthsFinder has come into my life, practicing this language of strengths, has been through the impact that it has had on my marriage. And in fact, that was really the thing that brought it home to me, that started to open my eyes to the fact that this could actually do something in people's lives, in relationships, and in work. And in families. It's a little bit of an exaggeration to say that it saved my marriage, but that's kind of how I feel. I feel like if we didn't have this language to communicate about what we really bring to the table and the needs that we have, I'm not sure where we would be today. And so it started about 8 years ago when we were about 7 years into our marriage, and we just kind of had this sticking point over and over. It's not huge. It was just something that we didn't like, that was caused a constant, maybe not constant, but all too frequent conflict, let's say. So it would happen something like this. Like, let's say, at the time we were dual income, no kids, which is, dinks, right? Something you don't really appreciate as much until you have already passed it, right? But we were. So I would come home from work. Maybe I would already be home. I would be in the kitchen finishing up emails from the day. I would be maybe doing dishes and making dinner and maybe even making lunches for the next day. I was kind of getting things done. In my opinion, just kind of things that needed to be done for the day. And David would get home and he would maybe grab a glass of water. He would pop up on the counter and just kind of debrief his day. He would talk and try to connect. And we were both in the same kitchen together. We were both experiencing the same thing. It was just the two of us. But we came away with drastically different perspectives on that situation that would lead to that conflict. And for me, I would see him as not doing anything, right? So I would be frustrated that there was dishes in the sink and he wasn't jumping in to help. And I would be thinking, man, we can get so much more done around here if he would just help. And at the same time, he is trying to talk to me. He's trying to build a deeper connection. He walks over to me while I'm in the middle of doing all these things, and maybe he asks me about my day and I rattle off my to-do list. I'm thinking I'm connecting. He walks over to me, maybe tries to give me a hug from behind, and I maybe just turn around for half a second before I get back to what I'm doing. And from his perspective, he's thinking, man, we can connect so much deeper if you would just stop and turn around and look at me for a while. And so you can imagine that this might actually not just be we could do so much better if, but rather a really frustrating encounter where our needs weren't being met and we weren't communicating in the same language, and it would just elevate more often than we wanted it to. And so only when we started unwrapping this concept of strength did this conversation change. We happened to go to a leadership retreat where we learned about StrengthsFinder, and we found out that what I bring to the table, my very first strength that comes up is achiever. And what is first for him that comes up is relator. And my achiever is that stamina, that drive, that list checker offer that wants to get things done. And his relator is an ability and a need to go deep with people, to build one-on-one relationships, and an ability to kind of work hard alongside other people. And that's what the conflict was in the kitchen. It was those two things and needs of each of those strengths that weren't being met by each other. And so we learned. So for example, I learned that I need to talk to David on my list. Yeah, I was going to bring getting things done to our family. I was going to have a stamina and a drive that was going to help our family meet goals and push forward. But if I didn't talk to David on my list of those goals, then the relationship side of us, the connecting side, was going to crumble and fall apart. And so that's what I did. I talk to David on my list. And oh my goodness, what an amazing difference that made when I realized I needed to really turn around and connect. And for him, he realized that he needed to meet that need in me to get things done. And so, clearly he did not actually see the dishes on the sink. I had to invite him into that. But once he realized, oh wow, yeah, if I can be getting things done next to you, it's feeding his connection, but also feeding that need for me to be getting things done. And so it just opened the door for grace in our relationship, for understanding, for communicating, for having a tool to be able to really meet fundamental needs in each other. And that is what it can do to a marriage, to a friendship, to a partnership, to a manager relationship, to kids. And that's where I see the strength, and I get excited about what StrengthsFinder and the language and concept of strengths can do in people's lives. So let's use this. Who is someone close to you? Who is a special relationship in your life? Maybe it's your spouse or your significant other or your sister or your best friend. And what is it that they bring to your relationship that you don't? What is the strength that they have that you just don't seem to? And how well are you doing at meeting the need behind that strength? Meeting the need that will help that strength flourish. For me, it's with David and I, when I realized that all I really needed to do was turn around and connect with him, make some intentional time to connect with him so that his relator strength would flourish and thrive and bring that depth to our relationship. And then once you've done that, you've identified what that strength and what that need is and what you can do to meet that need, share that with them. Set up something special. Meet together, share with them about the strength that you see, and then commit, whether verbally or not, to meeting that need so that they can flourish and your relationship can flourish. And then once you've done that, tell me about it. I would love to connect with you. I would love to hear about how your relationships are impacted by strengths. And I hope that your relationship can be saved just like mine was. Let's connect. Let's share. You can do that over at isogostrong.com for commenting over on episode 6. And then you can also do that at YouTube by leaving a comment there. I really want this message of strengths to get out to the world, to eliminate the hate, strife, and unnecessary frustration that happens at work and at home, in our relationships, our closest ones, so that we can all come to our unique places of success by using our strengths. So please share this in your own circles, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, or it's your actual physical circles, your manager, or at home with your spouse. And if you like this, head on over to iTunes and leave a review there, because that will help get the word out as well. But really, mostly, I'm just glad that you were here today with me. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope that it impacts your story. And I hope to see you next week on Isogo TV.